Good evening. Okay, good evening. This is the June 15th, 2022 meeting of the Ossining Planning Board and Architectural Review Board. I'm going to ask people to identify themselves and we'll go around my screen, starting with Sandy.
Sandy Anelli, Secretary.
Margaret.
Margaret Kahn, Secretary.
Donna.
Donna Sharrett, Planning Board member.
Valerie.
Valerie Menastra, Planning Board, Planning Consultant.
Jason.
Jason Mencher, Planning Board Alternate.
I think.
Yeah, Manny Enriquez, Planning Board member.
Okay, Manny.
Hey, hi, Carolyn.
Hi, Jim.
Jim Basinas, Planning Board member.
Kathy.
Kathy Zalantis, Planning Board Attorney.
Dan.
Nancy Arcia, Consulting Engineer to the Planning Board.
Okay, and I'm Carolyn Stevens, Chair of the Planning Board. I just want to say that one of the, in terms of the public and for public comments on any application, we're going to be instituting a new rule, which is a 3-minute rule. We're going to ask that the public limit their remarks to 3 minutes and really try not to repeat something that somebody else has said. You can always say, I agree with so-and-so, but some of our meetings have gotten dragged out a little bit and everybody here's a volunteer and has to get up and go to work the next morning. And also it makes it difficult for other participants to stay on. I would ask the people think about what they want to say, and I'm sure that 3 minutes is enough time. And if it really isn't, then we can adjust from there. I'd also like to ask our counsel, Kathy Valantis, to go over for the public what the role of the planning board sitting as the architectural review board, what the standards are and what they are supposed to be doing in that capacity.
Do you want me to address this now?
Yes, why don't we do this now?
So again, just to review the purview of the board when it sits as the Architectural Review Board, and specifically with respect to 68 Somerstown Road, just want to again advise the public that this is not a subdivision application. The subdivision approved previously granted, and it created lots 1 and 2. The subdivision approval remains in place, and the applicants must still comply with any and all conditions in that subdivision approval. That application is also not a site plan application. There is no site plan approval required for single-family homes in Ossining. The applicant on 68 Somerstown Road is before this board, the ARB, not the planning board. The ARB's jurisdiction is implicated because the applicant is seeking to construct a new residential building. The ARB has specific standards it must adhere to. For example, the ARB can conditionally approve an application subject to specified modifications. For the ARB to disapprove an application, it can do that, but only if it finds that, quote, the property as proposed would be so detrimental to the desirability, property values, or development of the site and or surrounding areas so as to cause one or more of the harmful effects specified in the statute. And the statute talks about monotonous similarity to the structures on the same street and within 350 feet with respect to the items enumerated in the statute, which are substantially identical facades or arrangement of building features. And another standard is striking dissimilarity, again, in general or with respect to other structures on the street or within 350 feet. And the statute talks about visual offensiveness or inappropriateness of poor quality of exterior design of the facade or excessive divergences in the height and of the level of the structure from the grade. So there's specific standards in the statute that the ARB must adhere to if it were going to disapprove an application. And again, the review of the ARB board is limited in that respect as to what it can consider and what basis it could grant and deny an application.
Thank you, Kathy. Okay, our first item, I guess, is River Knoll completeness review of the DEIS. Valerie, you want to take us through that?
Sure. I provided this board, now this is the third completeness review we are conducting on this particular project. I provided the board our comments. At this point, we still feel that there are a few unanswered questions, but those we feel could be answered in the final environmental impact statement. I also provided the board comments or completeness review from the traffic consultant, Kim Lee Horn, and they also have the same conclusion. So if this board wants to deem the DEIS complete tonight, we can, and we can begin to have them finalize the DEIS, and then we can circulate and call for a public hearing.
Does anybody want to be heard on this item from the public? Sandy, has anybody raised their hand? Okay. Okay.
Go on for this application.
Okay, do any of the board members have any comments? I think Donna, you mentioned you had one.
I just have a small comment. So I definitely thank you, Valerie, for all your report, and I would definitely agree with you on that, and thank you for that. I just had one comment, which seems pretty minor, but it's something I've mentioned before. On the table 3E1 or EI, I don't know what I wrote here, but it's vegetation and wildlife under G. The species, when in the final, when we get all the final plans, the species should be listed by scientific Latin, and that is my comment on that. But thank you for everything. And
do I have a motion? Well, first of all, do any other board members have any comments at this point? No, okay. Can I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay. Let's see, Donna, how do you vote?
Just to be clear for the record, you're making a motion to deem the DEIS complete.
Yes,
Donna, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Okay, Jason,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Manny,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. Congratulations, Glenn.
Kathy, do we need to talk about calling for a public hearing on this? How do we want to, I mean, we still need.
We need to do some, we need to circulate, and do you want to set a public hearing now or call for the public hearing on the DEIS?
We might as well set the public hearing.
But we don't have the final copies yet. That still
Okay.
needs to be distributed to us.
All right.
So
Glenn, how much time do you need?
Right,
Just a few days to get it to you. Today's the 15th, so beginning of the week.
When's our next meeting, Sandy?
July 20th.
July 20th? Okay. All right. Does that sound reasonable to like Valerie?
yeah, I mean, that should give us, if we get the EIS, that should give enough time to circulate the copies, put in the EMB notice, and then for notice for the public hearing, correct, Sandy? In
Does that give us enough time, Sandy? Okay, all right. Okay,
So do we want to, we definitely would need copies to distribute. Sandy, we'll need to talk about that tomorrow. But we'll need copies to distribute by, I would say, by the 20th at your office.
by June 20th, yeah.
Yeah.
If that's cutting it too short, we could also just put a call for the hearing for the next meeting. It's August 3rd. But Glenn, you could definitely turn this around quickly.
How
We
many
don't want to
copies,
be,
copies will we need, do you think, Valerie? Or can-
Well, I think that it depends on how many copies does the hard copies does the board want?
I'd like a hard copy.
I'd like a hard copy.
Me too.
I would as well.
Yeah, and
and there's a
need one.
requirement for the library to have one.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think, I don't know if you're gonna get all those copies in time.
I'm good with the digital copy.
Hate to wait till August.
Well, why don't we touch base? Why don't we call for, if it's August 20th, I mean, I'm sorry,
July 20th.
July 20th, we need to schedule the public hearing. I think it has to have 14-day notification, correct?
Right,
So then that's July 6th. It would have to, notification would have to be out by.
okay.
So, I mean, I guess technically they might have till the end of next week to pull it all together. But then after that, everything would need to be sent out.
Well, hard, digital copy, we can have very quickly, maybe even by the end of this week. But certainly by Monday, it's just the printing that will take may take a little bit longer. I can't speak for JMC. They're the ones that are going to print it.
And Sandy, would you want the applicant to send out the EIS notices to the involved and interested agencies and then provide you documentation that they were sent?
Sandy, unmute yourself.
Sandy, you're muted.
Muted, Sandy.
Yes,
Yes, okay.
yes.
So I can coordinate with Robert Peak tomorrow.
Okay. Very good. I mean, getting people digital copies we can do very quickly.
Okay,
Okay. So, yeah, so I think we can do it for the 20th.
all right, very good.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
So you want to make a motion to set the public hearing
Yes.
for
Can
July
I-
20th, subject to, if need be, it could always be adjourned, but
Yeah.
it will initially set it for July 20th.
Okay, may I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Jason. Second, please.
I'll second.
Okay. Donna, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Annie,
Yes,
and I vote yes as well. So we will see you on
Okay.
July 20th.
Thank you all very much.
You're welcome. Have a good
Appreciate
evening. Okay. The next item is Welcome Homes, 68 Summertown Road. Do we have the applicant?
Yes. She should be on shortly.
Okay, there's Jody.
Okay. Good evening. Also, I have Andrew Vaccarello and Tom Kerrigan.
Okay,
Okay.
Just want to make sure they're in. Perfect. Good evening.
good evening.
Thank you for having us here tonight. Jody
Okay,
Cross from Zarin and Steinmetz.
right. Just Valerie, where are we on this? And,
So the board has a draft of the resolution for
Right.
you. And Kathy has worked out a stormwater agreement with the applicant. There was one additional letter, or there was a couple additional letters, but one in particular that dealt with wetlands buffers that I asked the applicant to come prepared tonight to just kind of confirm where the house is in location to wetland buffer areas surrounding all sides of the house.
okay, thank you. Jody, do you want, Ms. Cross, you want to address that issue?
Sure. We are aware of that letter. We reviewed it. We can assure this board that our delineations were based upon a survey done by a licensed surveyor. We actually, Tom, do you want to bring up that image just to show the board?
Sure. Can I share my screen?
Please.
So the issue that came up from one of the neighbors is that he believed that we had his pond in the wrong location. And that it was just sketched onto our plans. So again, the pond where the cursor is right now on your screen, that was located by a surveyor. It wasn't just sketched on. I mean, it's there, and you could see we overlaid it on the aerial, so you can see it's accurate. And Tom, do you want to just outline that blue wetland buffer?
Yeah, so this line here is the buffer from both of these two ponds. And then this is from the wetland on site. So,
To answer the question, we are confident we are outside of all the wetland buffers, and the buffers were delineated recently, and this is based upon a recent survey.
Thank you, Ms. Cross. All right. Do we have any members of the public that are present that want to speak on this matter?
We have Clifford Davis is the first person with their hand raised. I'm going
Okay,
to promote them to panelists so he or she can speak.
okay.
Carolyn, who's going to keep track of the speaking time limitations?
I'll use my phone to do that for now.
Okey doke.
I can-
And while Cliff is joining, if I could just say one thing on behalf of the applicant.
Sure.
We just want to state that at this point, we did submit a revised landscape plan to address comments from the board. We also recently submitted some responses just to the comments in general. I understand, of course, we're going to take the comments from the public, but we do believe at this point, we've addressed all the relevant comments that pertain to the ARB standards. We meet the standards, and we'd ask that after the public speaks, that the board close the hearing and grant our application.
Very good.
Proceed. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Davis, go ahead.
Yes.
Start.
My name is Clifford Davis. I'm an attorney, 202 Mamaroneck Avenue, 3rd floor, White Plains, New York, 10601. I represent Steve Jones, who's the adjacent neighbor at 64 Somers Town Road. I'll be brief. I submitted 2 emails to the board, which I just want to confirm are as part of the administrative record. One was on May 2nd, 2022, and then the other one is on June 3rd, 2022. Essentially, there was a resolution before, even though I understand you're sitting as the ARB, there was a resolution of the planning board in 1996, which I attached to my resolution, in which it said that, trees that were taken down in the driveway, that trees could not be taken down in the driveway. Specifically at paragraph 5 of that resolution, the applicant shall be responsible for the replacement of any of the 35 trees along the site's existing driveway. And I understand the applicant is intending on taking down 10 trees. When I spoke with Ms. Cross, she had indicated she thought that matter should be before the building inspector. The way I'm reading the ordinance, I think, even though you're sitting as an ARB, I think it has to be referred back to you as the planning board. In any event, these trees on the roadway need to be protected as set forth in the resolution. And from what I understood from Ms. Solantis, who made some opening remarks about 68 Somerstown, that even though you're sitting as an ARB, the applicant is subject to a resolution was passed in 1996. There's also a mature hedgerow of arborvitae. And we submitted some photographs and an expert arborist report. And I believe that the planning board, this board, and the building inspector should be protecting the trees on the road and on Mr. Jones's adjacent property, which is adjacent to the driveway. And I just want to confirm with this board what its position is as to which board is going to protect my client's interests. So we don't have to speculate as to where I'm running to make sure, because what I wouldn't want happening is that it goes before the building inspector and then the building inspector just stamps it approved and we don't have the opportunity to make that presentation. So I would ask that this board confirm who is going to protect the conditions set forth in the resolution, who is going to protect the trees on the driveway, and who is going to protect my client's hedgerow, that it's not in the drip line and that his trees are not being injured when they build a driveway. And thank you very much. I just beat the buzzer.
Yep. Well done.
I just want to add that I don't think I said that anyone was subject to a 1996 resolution. In fact, the subdivision approval was in 2016.
Oh, that's my mistake. It's 2016. You're correct, Kathy. And I attached a resolution to my May 2nd, 2022 email.
Okay.
Is the board going to address or not? And I understand if the board is not going to address it, but my client as an adjacent neighbor would feel a lot more comfortable if he knew which body was going to protect his rights as a neighbor.
Valerie or Kathy, do you have any comments on this?
This is,
Subdivision resolution with conditions. If the applicant violates those conditions, it's an enforcement issue. So it would be in front of the building inspector to enforce those conditions of a resolution already issued by the planning board.
And who would protect my client regarding the adjacent property? That when they put in the roadway, that it doesn't impact as set forth in my expert arborist report. They could put it in, but the roots of my client's trees, are going underneath that roadway. And we don't want my client's trees being damaged.
Is it's an enforcement issue. If there's language in the subdivision resolution, there's construction standards that have to be adhered to in any event. And, it's an issue between two property owners if damage occurs outside the property line.
Okay, thank you. I think that's the answer from the board's attorney. I think we could move on to the next applicant or applicant's representative. And Carolyn, I think I should just say that I believe the 3-minute time limit should be so the applicant or their representative can make their statement for the record. And it's not a question and answer session, or rather a call for answers from the board. And we shouldn't set a precedent that it is. So I think we should stick and let the applicant say what they'd like to say, answer if it's appropriate, and move on to the next commenter.
Okay, is there anyone else with their hand up on this matter, Sandy?
The next speaker is Ian Loden.
Sandy, I'm sorry, can you repeat who the speaker was? You broke up on my end.
The next speaker is Ian Loden.
Also, Sandy, once someone's spoken and their time is done, you can probably unpromote them from panelists.
Mr. Loden, did you want to make any comments?
You, hello?
Yes.
Hi. Okay, can you see me? Oh. no, I
Yes,
couldn't.
we can
Sure.
see you.
Hi. Thank you for being here, volunteers. Everybody I spoke to also wanted to not have this meeting go on all night long. The matter concerning my pond, I've got 3 minutes. If Jody, if you took that image from a satellite you saw on the map, there are trees in that image. If you took that image from an overlay, you don't have the actual shape of the pond. I think that is technically a sketch in. The pond is shaped sort of like a Mickey Mouse head. It's not so much an oval, it also has 2 arms coming out of it. It's very clear how the water gets channeled and drained through those arms. There's stones there. I cannot imagine how you could possibly be not be inside the buffer zone. Now, I've gone to the board, I've gone to the operations board. Margaret, Sandy, you saw me there asking questions, trying to get any information, hoping that you had a property survey for me, and you don't. I do have a survey that I think is legit, and I found it in the house. I just want the board to believe me and take me very, very seriously, because this is going to come up again. I am so confident. I am so truly confident that you've made a mistake. Jody, why don't we look a little further into this, and why don't you take a little time and take my word for it. Take my word that I know how to do arithmetic, basic arithmetic. And I sincerely believe you're about to come way into a wetland buffer of mine. But you could either find out now or later. All right. And, furthermore, the propane tank, I think, is in it. And I also think the tree is right on the edge of it. And now the drainage easement, this is another matter, but I don't see the point in overwhelming you with all my different matters. I would like the board to satisfy my concern and assist me and give me the time and make sure you haven't done any measurements from the pond, if that's how you think the pond is shaped. Anyway, I don't want to go on. I want the board to help me and stand by me also, and trust me and take my word when I say I believe you are definitely entering the zone. I'm done. I'm finished. I don't want to go on about my other matters, but I will say that Dan Ciarcia was going to speak with me about a drainage easement concerns. I'd like to know, I spoke with Mr. Ciarcia on the phone, and I'd like to know whether or not there's a culvert that runs from, and that's an underground pipe that runs from my pond underground into the 68 Summerstown Road property, or if the water is intended to run over the surface, if the stormwater and rainwater is intended to run over the surface of the property. What's happening? I can't hear anything.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other speakers?
Next speaker is John Scabilia.
Unmute. There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. I appreciate what the last speaker said, and I agree with him. I also was wondering, seeing that drawing, and I know he has something alternate to that, where that propane tank is going to go, because I can't see where that propane tank goes inside of those blue borders. And is there a drawing that shows that? because that's required, is my understanding, that propane tank. That's a question. Just wondering, is there a drawing that shows it?
No idea.
I'm sorry, Madam Chairwoman, I don't know if you expect me to answer any questions. I'm not going to unless the board
No,
asks. me to.
I'm not asking her to answer any questions at this point. Are there any other points you had, sir?
That was the primary one. I sat here this evening. I just want you to know, seeing a blue heron, a flock of geese, deer, a fox go through that area. I'd be interested to know if there's an environmental impact study on this property that is available to the public. I know that may not be in your purview at this time, but as a planning board, is there such a document available to the public? Those are my two questions, the propane tank and the impact study.
And Valerie, could you comment on whether an EIS is required for a single family home in the town of Austining?
EIS was not required for this particular project. There was seeker review that was undertaken during the subdivision, and I'm sure the building department has all the records of the environmental review that was done during the subdivision.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we can expect a revised drawing, including the propane tank?
No.
Oh. So we are to assume the tank will be inside of the buffer.
Jody, can you reference which sheet it's on?
Yeah, just tell us which, yeah.
Sure. I know it's on the site plan. Tom, do you know exactly which page it's on?
It's on sheet 1 of the site plan. It's located to the right and behind the house.
And we are
Outside,
required.
yeah.
I was just going to say, we're required under building code standards to comply with all laws and regulations. The propane tank is within the buffer. If you could see it on the site plans.
Outside of the buffer. Outside.
Outside the buffer. Yes, sorry. I apologize. It's within the building envelope outside of the buffer.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else with any comments?
Next speaker is Jean Fitzpatrick.
Ms. You're muted. You need to unmute yourself.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks for all that you're doing. Appreciate this new format. I would like to zero in, although I agree with the prior speakers and everything that has been said, I want to zero in, should this project move forward, on landscaping. I appreciate that there was a reply to our letter about landscaping. That said, a couple of things. One is 2 shrubs are said to be put in behind us. They are 3 feet tall in the drawing. I do not consider that screening. It will take a decade for those plants to provide anything resembling screening. Secondly, there was some concern expressed about plants in the drip line. The difficulty with that is that if we have no plants whatsoever in the drip line, we will not get screening. I appreciate the concept of no plants in the drip line, but I am saying, given that there are now 10 fewer shrubs than there were in the prior plan, could we please restore some shrubs and give us more screening? Because right now we are the most exposed to this home. We are right in front of it, and we are going to be looking at a driveway and a garage and a house without screening. I would also say that if that can't be done on their property, you are welcome to put them in on our property, but we would like landscaping. better screening than there is now. I would also add that it's somewhat ironic that the landscaping plan notes that one of the biggest concerns on the property is the difficulties of building when there is standing water. Please note. Thank you for your help.
Is there anyone else with comments, Sandy?
Yes, the next person is Scott Johnson.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Johnson.
Hi, thank you very much. Just a quick thing, apparently, for some reason, it seems that Ian London was kicked out of the meeting. He is here with me. I just wanted to let you know that. And we missed some things that went on. So if anybody could let me know where to get the recording to get the response to his questions, I'd appreciate that.
Go on, you have 3 minutes.
Okay.
You sing the pond.
And to build on what he said, if somebody could come down and take a look at the pond and measure in person, because it does have ears that stick out on both sides. It's not an oval or round pond, and our measurement is much closer. It changes the site of the buffer completely from what it was stated. Whether it's an overlay or a survey, they missed it because it is there. And that's it. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Is there anyone else with comments, Sandy?
There's no one with their hand up right now. Oh, wait, we have one more.
Okay.
Anthony Strohshire.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. We just wanted to say good evening and say thank you to you all for your all hard work. We know this has been quite a process, but we appreciate everyone's hard work on this, and we appreciate everyone's efforts and the feedback we received from the board and the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and is there anyone else?
Nope, not at this time.
Okay. At this point, make a.
Carol, and I had a couple comments.
Sure. Go ahead. Donna.
First, I would just, Jody, I would like, Althea is not here, so if you may relay my appreciation of her letter.
I will, thank you.
I think that was, it was really great to, lay everything out like that. And I did see in there her point that some things should be within the drip line, and I definitely agree with that. The approach that's going to be taken. So thank her for that. But I did have just a couple questions. One is on, she says with the knotweed, and this is great. It says this that they've added this phrase on the drawing, the requirement to be fulfilled for the entirety of the 3-year planting monitoring and guarantee period. I didn't see it on the drawing, and perhaps I missed it. And that's very probable, but I just wanted to know where that was. That's great that she's added that.
We'll confirm it's on there. If we need to just make that a condition to confirm it's on there.
Okay,
we're happy to make sure.
Perfect. Yeah, because it looks like maybe that, but obviously it's intended to be there. So
Yes,
that's good.
absolutely.
Yes. Okay, great. And also I appreciate, I definitely am very satisfied with your approach to the deer fencing and the deer surround on the trunks and the spraying. And thank you for adding that. I think so. The other comment I had is on the actual plan, and this might just be something that's like a standard, so that's why it's included in here. But under the lawn restoration planting, it states that, I guess this is in reference to the perennial layout, that a 10-10-10 granular fertilizer is going to be added. And if I'm understanding it like correctly, that these plants would be in this, in that rain garden area. So the fertilizer there should not be fertilizer in that. So if that could be removed.
So no fertilizer within the rain garden?
Right.
Okay.
Right. And I think that if that change could be made, I think that that's it for me.
I don't see a reason why that can't be changed. Andrew, is there any reason?
No, we should be able to accommodate that.
Great.
So we're happy if those are two conditions in the approval to confirm that it's corrected on the plan, we will do that.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
And since the homeowners are on the line, I would just, so this is not a condition, this is just my comment. You know, this is the lawn is in the wetland buffer. I mean, that's where the lawn is. It'd be really great if they did not use chemicals on the lawn, because all of that is a wetland buffer. So the wetland buffer is to buffer from chemicals. So adding chemicals would be the opposite. So I would hope that they would consider that. Thank you.
I'm sure they will.
Thank you.
Valerie, do you have any comments at this point? Do you want to discuss? Do you want to discuss the resolution?
The board received a resolution. The resolution itself, basically at this point, we don't have very specific conditions because the applicant addressed most of the issues over the last couple months. But in terms of the it specifically identifies the approved plans, and then it does talk about prerequisites to stamping the final ARB plan, that the applicant is required to meet all pre-building permit conditions in the subdivision approval resolution. And if, as a condition to the approval, any changes are required, that they have to submit those as well to both the town engineer and the town planner, and then we'll review it. In terms of the declaration, prior to issuance of a certificate of occupancy, the applicant must record the declaration of easement and restrictions, and that's the exhibit A attached to the resolution. And then the final condition is the subdivision conditions. The applicant is required to meet all conditions in the subdivision approval resolution dated May 18th, 2016.
Thank you.
And the rest of the conditions are your normal typical ARB conditions.
I guess the next step would be to close the public hearing. Kathy?
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to note for the agreement that's attached as Exhibit A, because I know this is a concern of the board, that there's a restriction that nothing can be built on Lot 1, and that Lot 1 and 2 have to be held in common ownership.
Thank you. Do we?
Carolyn, I just wanted to say one thing for the benefit. I think one or two applicants asked. If
Right.
you do want to watch a video of a previous planning board meeting, you can go to the town's website, the planning board page, and there's a link to the YouTube channel, and all the videos of previous planning board meetings are housed there.
Thank you, Jason. Do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Donna. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jim. All those in favor, Donna, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Manny,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. The public hearing is closed. I have a motion now on the resolution. Well, first, do any board members have any comments on the resolution? Okay, can I have a motion on the resolution?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Jim. May I have
I'll
a
second.
say? Thank you, Jason. Donna, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Manny?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. Resolution passes with the aforementioned changes that we discussed. And thank you.
We just want to thank the board and staff for all your hard work and help with this application. And thank you for the vote tonight.
And I wish the homeowners a lot of luck in their building.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I
Have a
hope
good
you
night.
enjoy
Thank
their new home.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay. I guess we are the Bryant driveway. Is that, are we still, is that still on, Sandy? Sorry.
Town Road still on?
Yes, there was a
Oh,
request for,
yeah, they requested an extension, right, sorry.
but if you are in the audience, can you raise your hand if you're gonna, if you're here for 39 Stormy Town?
Stormy Road.
Is that Justin?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can't see me though.
No.
There we go. And I believe Greg Del Mastro is also online as well. If you can promote him, would be great. Should I begin?
Yes.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Justin McAlinto of Langen Engineering, here on behalf of the applicant Chocolate Sky LLC to discuss the 39 Stormytown subdivision project. It consisted of a 9-lot subdivision, roadway and utility infrastructure. And on October 6, 2021, the town planning board granted final subdivision approval on the project. Since that date, we have been actively pursuing approval with the health department. Unfortunately, we were not able to receive final approval from the health department prior to the subdivision approval expiring, which occurred this past April 4th. So we are here to kindly request that the planning board consider retroactively granting an extension for the subdivision approval. And I guess since the final approval, there hasn't been any significant changes. We've made some, minor modifications as it relates to the health department, but nothing major from what was previously approved.
What's the time frame we're looking for?
I believe the town permits a 90-day extension, which would bring us to, I believe, July 3rd. Unfortunately, we're still, I wish it was. We're still in the process of getting signed forms from the town. We have responded to the health department with a little back and forth, but we are looking to submit a full package back to the health department for approval once we get all forms signed. So with that said, I guess in addition to the first 90-day extension, we would also request for another 90-day extension, which would bring us to October 1st, which should be adequate time to obtain the appropriate approvals from the health department.
Valerie, Kathy, are there any issues with procedure to do that?
Can we give them two at one time? So they don't have to come back?
The board has done that in the past,
Okay,
granted 2 90-day extensions.
I was just confirming.
yeah. Okay,
I wanted to just ask, is a retroactive extension something the board's done in the past as well?
yeah.
We have done that in the past. I didn't, until I didn't realize it was a retroactive request. It is a practice that most boards do. However, there's not really a lot of law out there that supports it, even though it is a practice that most boards engage in.
Okay. All right.
What would be
Taking
the
the risk if somebody challenged it. And then they would have to come back before this board for reapproval.
Thank you.
Any other board members with a comment? Donna?
Kathy, what would you recommend?
Has been done by this board, I would recommend doing it. Would have been better not to have to be put in a position to grant a retroactive approval. The alternative would be to just come back before this board for reapproval, but that takes noticing and put the application back on the agenda, just so in 99% of the times, it's fine. But if it were ever to be challenged, the applicant would be at risk of having to come back before the board for a reapproval.
So, but you said this was done before.
It has been
So-
done before. And I could explain more in a executive session for advice of counsel, what I was referring to in more detail.
Does any, we,
I'll make the motion for the 290 days.
okay. Do we have a second on the?
I second.
Okay. Donna, how do you vote?
Yes, I guess.
Jim,
Yes.
Jason,
I vote yes with the caveat that should it not be achievable by, I think, the October date and a third extension is granted, I'd be potentially disinclined to grant an additional extension. But I vote yes.
Manny,
Yes.
I'll vote yes as well. I hope you can get your work done by October.
Thank you very much, board
Thank you.
members.
Appreciate your time this evening.
Take care.
Have
Have a good evening.
Take care.
Okay, Bryant driveway. Valerie, can you just bring us up to speed on that?
So this application, so part of this application, it's twofold. One, there was some initial work that started, and there's additional work that the applicant wants to undertake. Right now, the way the information that was provided, the application is not complete, and there's additional information that's needed. And the memo that I provided to the board lists the various items that were not provided as part of this particular application, which I think would be important for the board to have a better understanding and also make your findings in terms of a filling and grading permit.
Okay, so you would recommend we adjourn this?
So, I mean, you might want to listen if the board wants to hear what the applicant is proposing to do, but then I would recommend that the applicant come back with the additional information.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Bryant. I see he's here. You can, Mr. Bryant, you want to unmute yourself? Mr. Bryant?
While we're waiting for the applicant, I don't know, Dan, if you had any other additional information that you would need necessary to review.
I actually did meet with the applicant and walk the driveway. you know, it's one of those deals where this is an historic driveway that's been there forever that needs to be maintained. And I guess the nuance of this is, you know, when do you sort of, when is it just maintenance and when is it slight improvements? But clearly this driveway's been used for access for decades, so it's not a new thing.
Applicant, you're not on mute, just so you know.
Oh, okay, good. I'm sorry. I'm here. Can you see me?
We cannot see you.
I'm kind of new to Zoom.
Andy, did you send the applicant my
Okay. I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can
Yes,
hear
we
you.
can hear you.
Okay. I'm sorry. Am I supposed to present my case?
Brian, did you get the planner's memo that lists the items that are missing from your application that need to be submitted to the board?
I'm not sure. I made a submission, and I don't know that I've gotten any requests for anything additional.
Okay, there's a memorandum that you need to review, and I think the board is inclined to adjourn your application until that information is supplied.
Okay, I hadn't received that. I will be happy to do that. Was that sent by mail or by email?
I believe was that sent by email? Yes, it was sent by email, Mr. Bryant.
Okay, I will have to check my emails because I'm not aware that I received it. But I will certainly comply.
My point too is that, Dan, you know, if there are, because again, I think the scope of the project is like undefined at this point. So if there are some particular items that are identified that are typical for an application for filling and grading that, Dan, you feel that are not necessary, I mean, the applicant can work with you directly, but those are the elements that are typically required as part of the filling and grading.
Okay, when I get it, I will answer it. I can say that what we're doing is trying to improve. I'm sorry, I'm in a bad situation here to be doing this. Trying to do safety and prevent erosion and just do the regular maintenance of the driveway. I've lived here all my life. My family's owned this driveway for 70 years. We have 5 other houses on it that we serve. And my wife was involved in a head-on collision because of a blind curve some years ago with my daughter in the car. So we're trying to correct those kinds of things. And we've always fill the potholes every year. And we have a problem with storm runoff from Cedar Lane. I've met with Mr. Conway several times, and he tells me that they can't do anything unless they have an easement. Now, I don't have an easement. They don't have an easement. I offered him an easement, but I don't think he's going to take it. But the storm water's coming in over the lip at Cedar Lane. It's coming in from the catch basin on Cedar Lane, and it's coming in from the 9A cutoff where it goes through the front yard of the adjoining house, which belongs to the O'Connors, and it comes up against my driveway, and it goes under it, and it soaks it, and it makes potholes. So all I'm trying to do is improve it, and I will comply with any requests you have, and do anything that you think is appropriate. I'm sorry, my computer is not really adequate.
Carlin, you're muted.
So, yeah, at this point, I think we'll adjourn this matter until you've had a chance to look at the memo from our planner. And,
right there.
respond. Brian,
I got it.
Might I recommend that this application get adjourned to the first meeting in August? So that you keep your agenda light for the July 20th
Yeah.
meeting.
I'm sorry.
I think that's a good idea, Val. Mr. Bryant,
Yes,
we're going to adjourn this to August 3rd. I believe that's our first meeting on August.
okay.
And they'll give you time to respond and
Right foot.
to the memo, and then we can go from there.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Need a
bye-bye.
vendor on this side.
As I understand it, Terra Rustica is no longer on the agenda. Sandy?
No, they sent a letter asking if they could be adjourned to the next meeting.
Okay. And where are we with 3 Water View?
Those have been approved.
Okay, very good. All right. Okay. So I guess we need to, we had minutes to look at. I think there were 3 sets of minutes.
We do them individually or?
I'll take them as I guess we should take them individually. Yes. We have April 20th, 2022 minutes. Yes, oh no, those were approved already, right? Sandy, I see.
No, they haven't been approved.
Hmm.
No, April 20th.
20th, right.
No.
All right, so those are the ones I have in front of me. So April 20th, 22, does anybody have any comments on those minutes? No, okay. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make the motion. I'll
Okay.
second the motion.
Okay,
Whichever.
right, Donna, Jason, thank you. All, Donna, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jim, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jason, how do you vote?
Yes.
Manny, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. All right, those are done. Do the other 2. Sandy, what are the other 2 dates?
We had March 16th, which is going back the ways.
Right, okay. Does anybody have any comment on the March 16th minutes?
My comment is that I wasn't appointed to the board till March 31st, so I won't be able to vote or comment.
Okay, very good. Anybody else have any comments? All right, may I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes. March
Thank you.
16th.
All right, get a second from Jim or Manny?
Second.
I'm
Thank
not
you.
sure if I was already officially on the board then, March. Was I, Sandy?
No, I don't think you were either. It has to be.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so, all right. Donna, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jim, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. All right, and then we have, what's the other one, Sandy?
April 6th.
April 6th. So you were on the board then, Jason? And Manny.
Yeah, that's when I started, I believe.
Okay. So can we have, anybody have any comments with respect to the April 6th minutes? Okay, may I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the April 6th minutes.
I second.
Thank you.
Hardly remember it, but I second.
Okay,
That was our 4-hour meeting, I think.
I think so. Yeah,
Yes.
that was a tough first meeting, huh? Okay, Donna, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jim, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jason, how do you vote?
Yes.
Manny,
Yes, yes.
I voted yes as well.
Actually, I do remember that meeting. That was the one that was long and arduous, but how can you forget?
Okay. All right, but tonight we're done.
Yeah, I
Can we do a
for,
super quick executive session? Just,
Yes.
and it will exit from executive session. We just have to get rid of Mr. Bryant from.
and Kathy, I want to talk about schedules, so I don't know if that can be taught, if
Okay.
I need to talk about that prior to executive session or after executive session.
Oh, you could do it right now. So we'll
Okay.
exit from
Yeah.
executive session.
So I want to talk about this with River Knoll. So we have just so that we can, so Sandy can start figuring out the agendas over the next couple months. If we have the public hearing on July 20th, I would recommend, if we already have one application potentially coming before the board on July 20th, and that's the 51 Croton Dam Road, because they turned their information in late, and so we told them that they would be on for the July 20th meeting. So
Okay.
those will be the only two applications we hear that night. But what we can do is any new applications come in, we can put them on for the first meeting in August, which is August 3rd.
Okay.
But at some point, right, if the public hearing gets extended, I would recommend maybe if, depending on July 20th, we'll have a better sense of what's potentially coming on the agenda for August 3rd. But I would recommend maybe adjourning the public hearing to the second meeting in August, right, August 17th, so that we can finish up those discussions.
Okay.
We also need
I believe I'm away in that second meeting.
Okay.
So you're not around August 17th.
We could just have the public hearing, and just, I don't know, Jim, if you want to be part of listen into the public hearing or just finish up the public hearing comments. And then we could schedule like a work session in September to go through the EIS and get your comments organized and ready to submit to the applicant as well.
Okay. All right, that
So
sounds
we
like.
would be adding a work session, correct?
Yeah, either that or we continue with one meeting is just River Knoll and the other meeting is all their agenda items, which we can do that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a conflict on the 17th of August. That's for sure.
Okay. I hope it's a good conflict.
It's a good conflict.
Okay.
Right, so we'll plan for that and we'll keep the board posted in terms of, scheduling and how much we have anticipated. If for some reason we have a very light meeting on August 3rd, we can start the discussion of the EIS separately from the public hearing.
Okay.
Okay.
Good idea. All right. All right, can we have a motion to go into executive session to?
We'll be leaving from executive session. And will not be
Okay.
coming back to public session.
Okay.
Thank you, Valerie.
Thanks. Can we have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
I
Jim.
second.
For advice of counsel, yes. Anyone? Okay, second. How do you vote, Donna?
Yes.
Yes. Jim?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Manny?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. Sandy, we're going into executive session.
So you want to stop the recording?